CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Progressive Insurance.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. All eyes on Capitol Hill are on an alleged birthday message from President Trump to Jeffrey Epstein more than 20 years ago, after it was released by a House committee last night. It includes a drawing in the shape of a nude woman, references secrets and, quote, certain things the two men have in common. CBS News Justice Department correspondent Scott McFarland.
In July, Trump denied making the sketch or the note and then filed a defamation lawsuit against the Wall Street Journal for reporting the note's existence.
I'm not a drawing person. I don't do drawings of women, that I can tell you.
In a statement posted to X, White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt called the birthday card story false and said President Trump did not draw this picture and he did not sign it.
Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass is speaking out after the Supreme Court gave ICE the go-ahead for roving sweeps in the city as part of the president's immigration crackdown.
This isn't just an attack on the people of Los Angeles. This is an attack on every person in this city and in every city in our country.
The White House has also announced it's expanding raids in Chicago and the Boston area. A former leader at the National Institutes of Health is opening up after she was demoted.
Dr. Jean Marazzo succeeded Dr. Anthony Fauci as head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases. She tells CBS News she was reassigned after opposing Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s push to cancel vaccine research and clinical trials.
They didn't want somebody in that position who was going to argue about what they thought was right.
Marazzo says Kennedy is unqualified.
He's dangerous because he ignores the evidence.
She filed a whistleblower complaint last week alleging illegal retaliation. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
Out of work, looking for a new gig? Chances are you're not hopeful. Here's CBS's Jesse Mitchell.
Americans' confidence in finding a new job has dropped to a record low, according to the latest report of consumer expectations from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. The average perceived probability of finding a new job after losing one fell to just over 44% among the heads of households surveyed.
Apple is unveiling some new stuff today. The company says it'll be awe-dropping. Tech contributor Ian Sherr has his eye on AI.
The iPhone is nearly 20 years old at this point. And while Apple has still found ways to refine it, the one thing everyone's paying attention to these days is artificial intelligence.
The company is expected to debut a new thinner iPhone and MacBook, as well as updated AirPods. Dow futures are down 4, S&P futures up 7, and NAS futures ahead 56. This is CBS News.
Sponsored by Progressive Insurance. We offer auto, home, and commercial auto insurance, plus a variety of business insurance options. Visit Progressive.com today.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I'm Matt Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Your car steering wheel could be a ticking time bomb. At least 24 people have died and many more injured because their airbags fired shrapnel at them upon inflating. Tens of millions of cars have been recalled. If you suffered cuts that required stitches, hearing or vision loss, or broken bones, please contact us today. You could be owed money for medical bills and other damages.
Morgan & Morgan. Visit us at badairbags.com for an office near you. Prior results.
News this hour is brought to you by the Rusty Healy Agency in Madison. Call Landon Thompson at 601-856-3681 to request a quote or learn more.
Oh, it looks like there's no news this morning yet anyway. But anyway, Chris Davis will have news later on this morning. Also, remember that coming up later today, we'll be talking right here on the Chip Matthews shows about prayer in schools. And we're talking about Trump wants to bring prayer back in school. And there's no reason why we don't. There's school choice coming up that we're going to have conversations for the plus side and the negative side today. We're going to go both sides. We're going to talk about the Madison County Wastewater Association for a little while this morning. If you got anything and you want to call in and talk about that, we will. And also we'll talk about Gluckstadt tax. All that's coming up right here on the Chip Matthews Show on WYAB. We hope to have you here all morning long. And remember, coming up at 7:07 this morning, it is the Clay Edwards Show. And then later on this morning, it will be your good friend, Andrew Gasser at 10. We do another 9 o'clock show today. And then, of course, in the afternoon, Kim Wade with Radio Strongman with his 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. broadcast of the most important information in Mississippi.
Welcome to the Chip Matthews Show, where politics meets the South. So grab your sweet tea, find a comfortable spot to sit back, and let's embark on this journey together. Chip away, chip away. Chip away.
And good morning to you all this morning. This is the Chip Matthews Show on WYAB. Yes, we're here in the wonderful studios this morning. Remember, it's getting cooler out there. Weather is getting cooler and then hotter and cooler. So you know what that means. There's more deer on the ground running back and forth, and you don't want to put them dead on the ground. So, and you don't want to hurt your car either. So take your time when driving. I mean, I saw coming down the trace this morning, I saw at least 9 or 10 deer. And then, of course, I saw one on I-55. All of still alive because I was taking care while driving and not knocking anybody out. But good morning. If you're looking for us this morning, we're going to be on YouTube and X and a little bit on TikTok. And then we'll re-put the show up on Facebook, as Facebook has changed a lot of their rules. And it's tougher to go live there now. But we'll take the show, run it through the filter, bring it back, and it'll be up, and there won't be any problems. They're just pushing for a more non-live programming on Facebook. It appears. We'll see what it goes. Now, of course, if you're looking for Dawn today on the spaceship, when you look inside, she is in Pensacola, Florida, laying on the beach. She sent a video. Yeah. It's been deleted. I deleted it. On the beach, showing her feet. You know how the girls sit there and show the water, and they got their toes up in the. Yeah, I guess she wants to show her pedicure. But anyway, we're going to talk about a lot of things this morning, and if you want to call in on the show, please call 601-879-0002. A lot of the conversation today will be about school choice and where you stand on that subject matter, because school choice is that's what they're calling it. But the truth of the matter is there is no bill to vote on yet. They have just opened the door to start conversation on this, and we need to all converse about it. But nothing has been decided. And you've got those for it, you've got those against it. And then, of course, we also have the other situation where the superintendents and the people in the schools don't want any change. And why is that? Because there's 140 something superintendents in the state of Mississippi, and each one of them are making at least $250,000 or 100. Let's say at least 150,000 plus. But there's some that are $250,000. There's some that are almost $500,000, and they're making that money and they're putting it away, and they don't want you to consolidate. They don't want you to save money. They want all the money they can in their district. And one of the things to think about in school choice is Will money go into each district? And these are questions that I've heard. And I think I have a solution for a lot of this, which is kind of interesting. I think they need to consolidate the state into 5 districts. And then you'd have one superintendent for each district. And then that superintendent would then talk to the schools, because right now we have a superintendent and we have assistant superintendents and we have head of principals. Yes, another person, another layer in there where they take care of the principals. You know, it sounds like the CEO on top doesn't have to talk to too many people and they're getting it all done. But no, that's not, that's what I'm getting at. Our money is being wasted. It could go better. It all should be about, what are you going to do for the kids? Every dollar you spend, the first word would be, how does this improve education for the kid? Now, yesterday I was talking with some legislators and people, because I got a call up and said, let's all talk. So we talked, and I talked to some more city leaders and this, that, and the other, and we talked. And what I've come up with is none of the plans go to the student. None of it goes to the teachers. Everything, all this extra money, they're all worried about the greed factor of school choice. In some ways that it's put together will be completely wrong, because if you're not careful where Jamie Creel's at, you will create a division, an almost segregation, if the money's going to follow the student. Now, if you really look at it logically, and let's take Canton, and we'll take Madison County for instance. If Madison County schools don't want Canton schools in their district, they just don't want it. That's just the way it is. And Canton people that are running Canton school district do not want to be in Madison County school district. And why is that? Because they got a lot of money coming in. They got a lot of Amazon money coming in the future. They got money. Now, Madison County is spending most of their money. Canton, they're spending most of their money in administration because they just don't have, they're not overcrowded in Canton. They're overcrowded in Madison County, but they're not overcrowded in Canton. So school choice, if you had it and all the kids in Canton were trying to go to Madison Central or something like that, then they would make room, because the greed factor of politicians and basically the school systems would create, their boards would all be going, we got to get as much money in as we can. We got to get as much money in as we can. And that's the greed factor. When you open the door up to you can make more money, then you're going to do everything you can to make more money. That is just the law of the land. And then you also know the other law of the land in government is, if you don't spend it all, you won't get it again. Right? And the government just feels like there's never a time that you want to take money and give it back to the government, because you've got to spend it all. Well, let's just say this. You don't have to spend it all. You can put it all aside, save it for a rainy day. What I think they need to do is, let's say, for instance, in one school, if you went through Madison County and you said, what is the need? Okay, well, Gluckstadt became the need because in Madison County schools was overcrowded. So Madison, and Richland occurred because Madison County schools were overcrowded, Madison Central. And so they built Gluckstadt, right? Germantown, to relieve some of the pressure. And it's completely full. I don't know how big Ridgeland is, but it's probably pretty much full. And then the supervisors in Madison County are not thinking progressively, because the three amigos, Steen, Griffin, and Banks, only think one way. Let's put a Band-Aid on it. Let's put a Band-Aid on it. Let's put a Band-Aid on it. They don't think to plan ahead. That's why we ride roads that should have been 5 lanes 10 years ago. That's why you're up this early listening to the Chip Matthews show. Everybody goes, Chip, that's just so early. But yeah. No, if you're carrying kids to school or trying to go to work, you're in the car right now, just trying to get down the road to get your kid to school on time. You know, it's ridiculous. I mean, out there at Gluckstadt, they are, and then if you go down the road there on Yandle Road, they're building neighborhoods with no place for those kids to go to school. That is the truth. If Germantown is full, and we don't need to see trailers pop up on lots. So what should happen is a school board should not, the state needs to regulate a school board to tell them that if their expanded growth in their area is going to be X, Y, or Z, that they have to start building schools. It's not a board decision if you got to build a school. It's you've got to start putting money back. And every month, when every year when you don't save money, you've got to put money back to build new schools if you're in a growing area. And if you look down Yandle Road, they're going to be able to be a 5A school right there at the end of it. If you put it right there at 43 and Yandle Road, that school would be completely full overnight. And you're going to go, and then they're still building, and they're still building. So what they need to do is they need to go around the state and draw circles and create needs. The need of what we need for schools. Forget the districts. We need students here. We need a school here for these students. Students they should come up with a regulation on how far you would travel to go to school every day. They should come up with, it's not that hard. And the more you bring it back down to, and we all know smaller classrooms and smaller schools, people get united better. They do better. These are things that we need to do. So why don't we blow up the system? Because what we realized yesterday was that the system got blown up by Trump. Trump said the national education people are wrong. And that's because it all filters down from the top. And so they're taking the money in Washington and they were taking money off the top. And it wasn't getting to the states. But once you got rid of that level of bureaucracy, more money is going to the states. Now, the states have all this other bureaucracy in that we pay. We start at the superintendent level and work the money down, where we should be starting at the kid and working up, just like we do in politics. That's what's important, is the kid, the education of the kid or young adult. But that's what needs to be going on. And the money needs to start at the lowest level. And then because that's the way y'all do it, the teacher should be on a platform. But anyway, we go from the student on money, then we go to the teachers on money. What if we did teacher money before we did superintendent money? Ooh, they'd be all upset. But that's the way you should do it. Because then we could get more teachers. We wouldn't be 3,000 teachers short in the state. Move up, and we brought in the people, the Filipinos, to fill out on a work program similar to what's going on at Hyundai with the Vietnamese. Because what happened there were people were brought in to work who were legal to work, and they brought their spouse. Their spouse is not legal to work in the United States. So like here in Mississippi, where we brought in school teachers to teach, they're not allowed, if they have a spouse or their family with them, they're not allowed to get a job because they don't have a card for that. Because I wanted to, I talked to some that wanted to come work for me. And I said, they said, you got to pay us cash off the books. I go, why? We're not allowed to work. Now they're going to find work somewhere. They're not going to be working for me, but that's the situation. When we bring people in from out of the country, we should take care of their whole family, to tell you the truth. If they're going to come in to help us educate kids, and then they want to bring their whole family, we should be giving them all a card to where they can all work, because, there are places for them to work. They want to work. They want to do these things, but we don't give them an opportunity to do that. So you got people that are legally here that can't work because they're legally allowed to be here because their spouse is working at the school or working at Hyundai or wherever. Their spouse is working there, and then they give the other part of the family, the other members, jobs at these places, and then they get busted for being here illegally. That's what's going on with the Hyundai plant, and that's what could go on even here in Mississippi with the Filipinos that we've brought in who are teaching in some of the school districts to make up the loss of the 3,000 teachers we don't have. It's the facts. It's the way it is. We need to figure out something. We're going to take a break. We'll be back on the Chip Matthews Show on WYAB. It's the facts. It's the way it is. We need to figure out something. We're going to take a break. We'll be back.
1039 WYAB.
Get a great deal on versatile Kubota equipment today. Like the Kubota L-Series compact tractor, the #1 selling compact tractor in the U.S., C-Series mowers, and Sidekick utility vehicles. Stop by your local Kubota dealer today. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment with 0% financing available or save up to $3,500. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Divini Equipment, serving you in Madison and Jackson. Stop, call, or click at DiviniEquipment.com.
Here's what they're saying about Corcoran Door Company.
I'm going to yell out to one of your sponsors here, Corcoran Door. When the guy came out here, instead of just trying to throw a door up, he was looking at the way the house was facing. Man, with this double garage here on the south side, you might want to consider a insulated door. I came in earlier today about 2:30. The car thermometer said 99 degrees. The thermometer inside the garage was 82.
That's why they've been around 50 years.
Yeah.
CorcoranDoor.com. CORKERN door.com.
Looking for the perfect spot to unwind with friends and family? El Patrio Mexican Restaurant is calling your name. With locations in Flowood and Cross Gates, Brandon, El Patrio is the cozy, family-owned gym where great food meets great times. Enjoy El Patrio's signature margaritas and happy hour specials that keep their customers coming back for more. Indulge in their authentic Mexican dishes prepared with love and served in a warm, family-friendly atmosphere. Come to El Patrio and taste the traditions. El Patrio, where family, flavor, and fun come together.
Your roof is constantly exposed to the elements, battling dirt, algae, and stains. But with Watkins Construction and Roofing Roof Wash Service, you can keep it looking like new. A proprietary rooficide treatment is EPA approved, safe, and guaranteed to prevent algae from coming back for at least 2 years. No harsh chemicals, no damage, no black streaks. Just a clean, beautiful roof that lasts. Call Watkins Construction and Roofing at 601-966-8233 or visit nomoreroofstains.com today.
Hi, Kim Wade here. Are you craving a home-cooked meal without the hassle? Come over to McBee's Bar and Grill in Ridgeland for their Blue Plate lunch specials. Served up every weekday, at McBee's it's a different entree every day. Chicken spaghetti on Mondays, beef tip Tuesday, pork chop Wednesday, spaghetti Thursday, and catfish Fridays. And McBee's Blue Plate lunch comes with 2 classic southern sides and cornbread or a roll. McBee's specials are served every weekday from 11 to 2. McBee's, buzzing the res since 1982.
Looking for the ultimate reset for your body and skin? At Core Wellness and Recovery, you'll find next-level services like cryotherapy, red light therapy, infrared sauna, body sculpting, and advanced facials. Whether you want to boost performance, recover faster, or just feel your best, Core Wellness and Recovery delivers real results with zero downtime. From muscle relief to radiant skin, this is self-care redefined. Come experience the future of wellness, Core Wellness and Recovery, just off Highland Colony in Ridgeland. Book now at corewellnessandrecovery.com.
You know what's a nightmare? We've all seen that movie where the bad guy's coming and your gun jams up. Luckily, that's just a movie, but you can't take the chance it could happen to you in real life. Hey, y'all, I'm Therese Apel from Dark Horse Press, and I've written stories about a whole lot of situations where people needed their gun to work for them. So if yours is moody or likes to jam, you need to take it to Guns and Gear. Let their professional gunsmiths look at it and fix it so it'll work when you need it. They're the absolute best at what they do, and that's why I buy all my guns from them. That's Guns and Gear in Gluckstadt. Check them out today.
Welcome back to the Chip Matthews Show, and here's your host, Chip Matthews.
I am Chip Matthews on a Tuesday morning here on the Chip Matthews program. Remember, we have another show today at 9 o'clock. We come on before Clay, and then we come on after Clay, and we'll be talking school choice as the topic of the day at 9 o'clock, and we're going to go deep into it. We're going to talk about it. Also, if any of y'all want to talk about this Madison County wastewater situation, I'm still trying to put the players together because it started out with Makita and CMU and of Canton, that's Canton Municipal Utilities, and it's gotten down to Madison County wastewater, which is each and every city. They took over the obligations that Makita had. When I'm trying to find a copy of all these lawsuits that were filed between them, but and in a lot of the complaints that people have that where they're calling their legislators or whoever they're calling city officials, and they're just saying, hold on, why do we have to pay for somebody else's mistakes? Well, that's because you elected the wrong people. You let people go into office who put people into these positions on these boards who are not qualified to be on those boards to answer a question. I mean, in Canton, CMU, they get paid to be on the board. They get insurance. So let me take care of mama or daddy or my cousin or my nephew and put them on that board. Let me take care of my old school teacher. Let me take care of these people. And they're making decisions that affect your money. They're making decisions that affect what's going on. And then when they get a multi-talented deal with a Fortune 5 company that's coming into town, and they make the wrong decision or make the wrong move or don't have money in their coffers to do matching grants and this, that, and the other, then you wind up where we are. I mean, Canton can't get grants because they haven't had an audit in years. They're going through it now with Shad White. He's up there auditing the books. But and we had the mayor, current mayor, said, I was an alderman during that time, but I was a part-time alderman. Well, aldermen pay the bills. That's just like supervisors pay the bills. And about supervisors, let's talk about that for just a second. We built a new bridge that everybody needed to get all the traffic from one side of the interstate to the other. So now we're just going to overload 51 for the Reunion people. They go across because you haven't gotten the approval to make it an exit yet. But you wanted to get the bridge built. That'd be part one. And then part two, we'll get a way to get down when we overcrowd 51. But all you're doing now is you're putting more traffic into that four-way stop. It's not a four-way stop anymore by Lee's One Stop. There is no Lee's One Stop there anymore. But if that four-way stop on Gladstadt, or rather that red light at right there at Weisenberger Road and Yandle Road, you're coming through there on 51. That's just too much traffic there. And those people, the good thing about it is they all have to get up and listen to me on the radio. They're having to ride right now. They're on their 35-minute ride to go 4, 5, 6 miles to work. Yes, that's it. 30 minutes to go 6 miles. Not to mention the people in the line to drop off their kids at school and all of that, and the way the traffic moves there. It's just ridiculous. And that's if you're at the elementary school. If your kid's going to the junior high or the high school over at Germantown, you got to get all the way across and all the way back. And Reunion, that exit doesn't help you any, because your kid's going to Germantown. You need an exit closer to Canton to get across. Instead, we've got that weird turn that place on 51 that you need a red light out of safety for people needing to turn left. And it's not a left. It's not a 90-degree turn to the left. It's like, I don't know what that degree would be. Would that be 70 degrees turn to the left, or 65, 67.5? You turn to the left. And then you got to cut back. I mean, that's just wrong. It's like the supervisors, if you're listening, supervisors, You don't do any of this. I know two of y'all, I know there's some supervisors that don't drive that area because it's not their area. But the ones that are that area don't ever show up in that area. And we're talking about Griffin. Griffin probably didn't even know that Yandle Road was known as a roller coaster. You know, he probably has never ridden down it in 100 years, or at least out campaigning or anything. But that's what's going on. And we got to start thinking about who we elect and who that person is going to appoint to run different situations and different boards around town. And that's that. And Chris writes up here about the shot, that bridge up in Madison so quick, it now open and crossing over I-55. And all it does is carry people to 51. You get to 51, you go, I hadn't made it anywhere. I'm not in the promised land. I'm not down in the traffic on the road. Time to take another break.
I hadn't made it anywhere.
One thing we say,
the promised land.
This show is full. If you
I'm
need
not
a
down in the
commercial,
traffic.
you need somebody to know where you're at. You need to get on the radio and run radio ads here at WYAB, because this is where it is at. We got commercials and we've got information. So we'll be back right here on the Chip Matthews Show on WYAB.
We got commercials and we've got information. So we'll be back right here on the
1039 WYAB.
Tired of the office grind? Ready to take a day and enjoy some time at the course? The Sanderson Farms Championship is back in Jackson. From September 29th to October 5th, come see the world's best professional golfers at Mississippi's only PGA Tour event. Whether you're a golf enthusiast or just looking for a fun day out, this event is for you. Visit SandersonFarmsChampionship.com for more information and to purchase your tickets. Take a day and join us at the Sanderson Farms Championship.
Here's a word from John White, the owner of Two Gun Tactical in Flowood and Ridgeland.
I carry a gun every day, all the time. Last year in America, 2 million legal guns were pulled and it stopped the threat. So I'm really wearing a firearm just to stop the threat. There's more likelihood of me just pulling it and not using it than there is using it. TwoGunTactical.com, TwoGunTactical.com.
Two Gun Tactical, the South's only country club.
Are you a wine enthusiast? Are you looking for the perfect bottle to elevate your next dinner? The ultimate destination for wine lovers is 042 Wine and Spirits on West Government Street in Brandon. They're locally owned, they're locally operated. 042 Wine offers something for everyone, from local favorites to rare vintage wines. 042 Wine and Spirits can help you find your next favorite wine. The friendly and knowledgeable folks at 042 Wine and Spirits will help you find the perfect bottle for every occasion. 042 Wine and Spirits, located on West Government Street in Brandon.
Health has always been reactive, focused on fixing problems as they happen. But with Blue Primary Care, we're taking a proactive approach, working with you to help you understand your health and empowering you to be healthy. It's time to prioritize you, your health, and your life. The results? Less worrying and more living. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Mississippi. It's good to be blue.
Did you know that the average 6-room house collects 40 pounds of dust each year? Local business Pure Air Consultants duct cleaning service can rid your home of the dust, dirt, and debris that may be caught in your air ducts. They can eliminate the mold, fungi, and microbes that might be growing inside your ductwork and polluting the air you breathe in your home. Mention WYAB and receive a free UV light with system replacement. Visit online at mypureairconsultants.com. mypureairconsultants.com.
Welcome back to the Chip Matthews Show, and here is your host, Chip Matthews.
I am the hostess with the mostest, the Chip Matthews Show on WYAB, normally with Dawn McKenzie, and of course she is asleep right now because I just talked to her a little while ago. She goes, I'm going back to sleep if we can't get the link to work. And I said, okay. And she's in Pensacola, Florida, on the beach, sleeping. A bum, a sleeping bum, a beach bum. But anyway, okay. My good friend, James Duncan, sent me a message that makes a lot of sense. And it's talking about state statutes allow this, let developers help pay for new infrastructure. And that's, we don't seem to ask for that. It seems to me like all these new people on Yandle Road that are building new neighborhoods, which are going to need schools. Understand that. The schools are full. You got to build a school. The Madison County supervisors need to be talking to the Madison County School Board and saying, y'all need to be building a school. Y'all need to be putting money back to build a school. You need to, we could cut all the superintendent's pay in half and probably build a school, not have to come out of our pocket. But if you would make these developers send X amount in on the schools and X amount in on widening the road, if you're going to move into there, we're going to take the first part of your front and get us a turn lane or something. You can't always put it back on the people. You want us to buy a right of way to put people for you to build 1,000 houses back there. And, you're not thinking about us. You're not, those supervisors aren't thinking about us. They're thinking about what is it going to do for me? Chip sits there and goes on the radio and says, it's all about the kids and how much money we can give the kids. What about how much we going to give the supervisors? How much we going to put in our pocket? How many friends of ours are we going to hire to build this subdivision? How many people are going to do this, that, or the other? We don't care if the schools are overcrowded. They'll build more schools. The school board will take care of that. Y'all, this is no way to run a government. This is no way to run anything. We put Band-Aids on problems. We don't fix problems. And I mean, down at the state legislature, they do the same thing. And there's some people that are actually being activists in trying to get ahead of this school problem. There are people trying to get ahead of this Madison County wastewater problem. It's like all this stuff happened in the past. What do we do right now? What do we stop right now to make it work? And come up with a plan that works right now. And we just have to bite the bullet and do it. Now, in a reality case, many of you will not like that plan. Many of you will hold that against your legislators because we should never got here. But some of this stuff happened 30, 40 years ago, and you got a good man in office now or a good woman, and they can't, their hands are tied. The hands are tied in between. If we don't fix something, we're going to be gone. And if you don't fix something, it ain't going to be. Madison County will be like Jackson in 10 years. Blame Gerald Steen. Yes, Gerald Steen, he should be kicked out of the Republican Party for saying that he's a Republican. Or the Republican Party should come out and just say, no, he's not one of us. But the Madison County Republican Party is full of crazy people, especially the executive committee. I happen to know that last night they wanted to endorse a candidate when they're not allowed to in a nonpartisan race. But they wanted to endorse a candidate, but the vote of the stronger half of that party voted to knock it down. They'll try again. That group of crooks will figure out how to do what they want to do. But the Madison County Executive Committee does not work in the best interest of the people. They work in the best interest of their friends and what they can get done. And I think that is wrong. I mean, that's the problem when we go to vote. Let's say, for instance, you vote for a legislator just because you like him. He's your neighbor, but he had never done anything good for you. What are you doing? What about qualifications? Have you, if your friend is the only thing on the ballot, that's one thing. If your friend doesn't have the qualifications to run it, that's another thing. It's like in Canton on a utility board. I'd rather put my school teacher from 73, who is now 84 years old. I'd rather put her on the school make the decisions for the future on the utility board and help her out and give her insurance and give her $1,600 or him at $1,600 every meeting. They pay everybody on those boards in Canton. Never mind that. They pay them. They give them insurance. I don't know if they get PERS, but here you are. You're in a situation where you can find somebody qualified to do something, somebody that's actively working in the field, somebody that actually knows what's going on, can tell a kilowatt from a gallon of milk. You notice that there was a kilowatt for a gallon of milk. That's like, I wasn't going to say water because everybody's tired of hearing about wastewater. And yes, they do get PERS. I mean, what do you do? What do you do? How do we get the people to take care of the people? I don't know. I don't know. I don't have Dawn here today to keep up with how many times I've taken a commercial break. But we're going to run with it and see where we're at. So later on to this morning, we're going to have some people in to talk about school choice. And it might get nasty. It might get serious. But it might actually be the only conversation that you people can listen to find out what the heck is going on. And if you don't listen to it live, you can listen to it in its podcast form when it goes up, and it'll be on YouTube and it'll be on Facebook. I'll have it everywhere. But the conversations need to be had. And you don't really have two sides. You don't have the I want school choice, and I don't want school choice. You have a third entity, which is the superintendents and the people in the school system who don't want to see any change at all. And that's because change affects their paycheck. Change affects their retirement plan. Change in their school district affects everybody that they have manipulated in there that's family members to work there. These are real things. It's just like the people at Madison County, out of Lake Caroline in the water situation, where they're getting a bill from CMU. They don't have any representation at CMU because the city of Canton appoints those board members, and they're normally inside the city limits or related to somebody at City Hall. So the people at Lake Caroline don't get any representation on that board. And there is a meeting today at the CMU board, by the way. Y'all, the room's small, but you can fill it up. You can go. You can get in there. I plan to go and get in there today when we get off the air. And then there's also a Canton City Hall meeting tonight. You can go there and get involved. Somebody says to me, "What are you doing, Chip?" Oh, I'm just doing nothing. I'm doing nothing. I'm trying to do a radio show and talk about the issues. What do you do? What do y'all want to do? What do y'all want to do about the school situation? Right now you don't have schools big enough to hold the kids. And these schools, if you have school choice, they're going to be wanting to get as much money into their system as they can because they can't help but to be greedy. There are politicians involved. There's people involved, and they're saying the more money we get, the more money we get to spend. And we have to spend it all every year. Madison County school system needs more buildings right now. You don't need to put trailers up out there because when you put trailers up, you're not protecting the child. So there should be a law that says when you get to this level, you have to build a new school. You have to get ahead of a new school. You have to think about that. I mean, the fact that everybody from Flora goes to school at Madison Central or Gluckstadt, why have they got to travel that far? Why don't they have their own school out on 43 between Lake Caroline and Flora? Why isn't that a thing? I may be the stupidest person in the world, and most people say I am. But logic says that if you drew a circle, let's say you drew a 5-mile circle on right there on 22. right there at, let's say where Martin's is, right there. If you do a 5-6 mile circle, as the crow flies, you probably can put in a 4A school right there. Maybe bigger. Because across the street on 22 and going back toward Canton, they're going to be building more neighborhoods. Same situation over there on in Gluckstadt. When I talk Gluckstadt, I'm talking about Deerfield, that area. Right there. All that. They're building houses over there like they're going out of style. They have no roads to get to them safely. And they're completely packed. Everybody's in line right now listening to me. And they're going, wouldn't it be great if you had a school right here where your kid could get on a bike and ride to school? You know, I'm talking about a 5 mile area. But when you get it down to it, you know, kids should be able to walk to school. There should be sidewalks. You walk to school. Just like on TV. We did it in Canton at one time. We walked to school. We rode our bikes to school. You can't do that now. It's not safe to do it. In Canton, the school's so far out in the woods and north of town, the school becomes a afterthought from where they put it. Now, some would say they put it in a great place. I'd like to go back and see who sold the land. You know, everybody's out for themselves and nobody's out for us. You know, if you don't know somebody or you're not a part of somebody, that's that. And then we elect these people like Gerald Steen and Griffin and Banks, and they go into office and they just manipulate the law. They manipulate the rules. I mean, those three, one of them every once in a while should be able to vote with the other two. The other two are conservative in trying to think it through, and they're saying things. I've seen Gerald say it more than once. Well, we're going to get sued anyway, so we might as well go ahead and approve it. What logic is that? What logic is that? Grow a spine. You might have one when you're not in that chair in the county, to where you will stand up to Banks and Griffin. But it really does seem like they own you. It really does seem like y'all have to be the three amigos because you're in deep dirt with somebody else, deep doo-doo. It does look that way. Because you all three vote together every time, even if we need it or don't need it. Somebody comes in and says, we need another $1 million. Y'all just write them a check. Somebody, $2.9 million disappears. You get back part of it. You say, okay, let's give that girl a raise for getting some of the money back out of the 2.9 she gave away that she wasn't supposed to. Y'all make something make sense. We're talking about legislative problems and we can't get the county right. We can't get our neighborhood right. And that's the way the law works. That's the way the law works. So we got to fix it. We'll be back with more in just a moment. That's the way the Dawn says it's break time. Thanks for the text. So we got to fix it. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Dawn says it's break time.
1039 WYAB.
Back in 1984, we started the Fast Service Oil Change. For over 40 years, Rapid Oil Change has been the leader in oil changes and fast service. We accept most major fleets and offer local 30-day in-house accounts as well. We do more than just change oil. From tires, wiper blades, tire sensors, just to name a few. Don't forget to show your ride some love with a trip to our Laser Wash 360, the best touchless wash in town, open 24/7. If you're not driving hard with Castrol Edge, come see us today. 6 locations, 6 days a week. We're ready to serve. OilChangeMS.com.
Burgers, blues, barbecue, the name says it all. At our spots in Madison, Downtown Brandon and Flowwood at Dogwood dive into mouth-watering, award-winning burgers and barbecue like our tender brisket and savory pulled pork that'll have you licking your fingers clean. Our B3 Catering Company can handle any job from 5 to 5,000 people, and with 2 food trucks ready for all your special events. Check out the all-new burgersblues.com to view our full menu, order carryout, and delivery by locally owned Take a Break deliveries.
The Madison Lions Club is firing up the grills for our annual Chicken Go fundraiser. Join us Saturday, October 18th at the Renaissance Bank parking lot on Highway 51 and Madison Avenue. Enjoy a delicious plate with a half chicken, 2 sides, a roll, and our famous voodoo sauce. Order online at madisonlionsclub.square.site or from any Madison Lions Club member. Proceeds support vision screenings, scholarships, and local community projects. Madison Lions Club, serving with pride and serving you.
We all love the farm-to-table food concept, right? Well, at Burnt Corn Farm, they bring you locally grown flowers straight from the farm to the vase. With a wide selection of flowers and excellent service, Burnt Corn Farm will make your next party or shower a southern delight. Sign up for a monthly bouquet subscription, and their farm-fresh flowers will brighten your days all season long. You can also book your next family photo session in their wildflower field. That's Burnt Corn Farm on Facebook and Instagram.
Tools, paint, mowers, equipment parts, service, and rentals are all under one roof at Hometown Hardware in Flora. Hometown Hardware has what you need and professional staff to steer you in the right direction. Hometown Hardware carries top brands like Hustler, Steel, and Milwaukee. Hometown Hardware even has a full lumber yard, paint matching, pool water testing, propane filling, key cutting, and much more. Hometown Hardware, Highway 49 in Florida.
Where do you stand in the pro-life community? If you're passionate about protecting the sanctity of life from fertilization to natural death, please join us at Pro-Life Mississippi as we make a difference and save lives right here in our own state. Pro-Life Mississippi is a community of individuals dedicated to equipping others to value all human life, including the preborn, those with disabilities, and the elderly. Our mission is simple: to provide unwavering support, education, and advocacy for the preborn, their families, and other vulnerable children and adults. If you're just starting your pro-life journey or you have been an advocate of life for many years, Pro-Life Mississippi needs your voice and talents to save lives in Mississippi. Together, we can make a difference in building a stronger pro-life Mississippi. Learn more about us at prolifems.org. That's prolifems.org. Be part of the community that celebrates each and every human life.
Welcome back to the Chip Matthews Show, and here is your host, Chip Matthews.
And I am the hostess with the mostest, the Chip Matthews Show on WYAB. Of course, Dawn McKenzie normally with us in the morning, and she is on vacation. Vacation. When was the last time I had a vacation where I got to put my feet in the sand and didn't worry about nothing? I can't remember. I cannot remember. I want to say that was in Hawaii or Cabo. But anyway, it's been a while. Anyway, looking at some of the things on here, Jolynn asked, we need to hear from MDOT. Well, you're not going to hear from MDOT anything that you want to hear. That guy just talks. I mean, I saw him at Christmas time talking with his baby on his shoulder and blah, blah, blah. I mean, whatever. But you said, when will the north and south ramps for the bridge rebuilt? Well, the north and south bill, that was not authorized to be put on there to begin with. They want to get it on there, and there's enough money in that part of the county to make it happen, but they just built the bridge to get ahead of the problem so that they can get their off-ramps later. I mean, it's going to happen. We all know it. That bridge with off-ramps is actually supposed to be a little bit closer to Canton. It was supposed to be put in back when Nissan went in. Never was done. And, that's from somebody who helped start the Nissan project. Good morning, Mark Grissett. Let's see. I don't know who that is. But I do know that I saw Lloyd on here. Good morning, Lloyd. But, y'all, let's talk about two things real quick. Glutstat citizens showed up last night and made a difference in their community. They showed up, and the board did not approve to raise taxes. The mayor says we need that $750,000 annually to do some things. Well, yeah, you need money. You knew all of this when you went to become a city. You knew, because all these people didn't pay a city tax when the county ran everything. They didn't. It was a nice country community. And you've put a city on top of them. And you're a city full of gas stations and grocery stores and stuff like that. You've got to build your economy. You've got to bring in more commercial business into your area. I wonder what the deal is across the street, because when you look at Levi and all of that, that used to be the Canton Industrial Park. Canton paid to build it. Anybody want to pay them back? Anybody want to pay Canton back for what they've built in this county? Canton has built a lot of things and done a lot of things to help the rest of the county when the rest of the county didn't have anything. Y'all, as we were growing up, Madison was a dirt road. All right, it wasn't a dirt road, but it was there. There was nothing there. Same for Ridgeland. And on this side, on the 51 side of Ridgeland, they've done nothing to make that look any better or anything. And going out, you got all those apartment complexes that are 30 and 40 and 50 years old out there on the county line road. That's all going to become an issue that you need to take care of. Meanwhile, on the Land of Milk and Honey side of Ridgeland, they get whatever they want. They do whatever they want. But Gene has got that new Aldi's and all that coming in there. So I don't think that's good for the neighborhood. I may be wrong. There's a Costco going in over there. Not a Costco. Isn't it over by Costco, there's a something else going in over there that's not going to be good for the neighborhood. All the things that they said that weren't going to happen are going to happen over there. And, and you got to expect growth. But a lot of that stuff could have been done on the other side of the road, where you didn't have the expensive neighborhoods, the bigger tax base. You start losing that big tax base on those houses over there, then what are you going to do? The one thing good is when they tear down some of those houses that are worth what they're worth, you'll tear down the house and you'll be able to put 4 houses there and tax all 4 houses, right? Is that your plan? What's the plan for the future? Why doesn't anybody think about the future? Why does everybody think about what's going to put the Band-Aid on it to fix the problem right now? We got crime problems. We got guns. And nothing wrong with guns, y'all. I think we all need to be wearing a gun. It'd be a deterrent, because every time you see Clay or you saw me, we'd have a gun on. You want to pull a gun? We'll pull a gun. That's just the way that works. Old West. The Old West, that would be a deterrent. These kids with guns. Now, what do you do about kids with guns? You start arresting the parents. Yeah, I'm talking about illegal guns. I'm talking about not self-defense. And, you get 2 kids out there with guns. All they're doing is spraying bullets everywhere. They don't care where. They want to see what it'll do. It's no different than when we were kids and we threw rocks. They just have guns. But we would throw a rock through a window on a house, old house. And, they display that in the movies. People just like to hear glass break every once in a while. But they get in trouble for it. But, kids will be kids. But kids with guns don't need to be out there on the streets. Need to be in school. And then we have a truancy problem, as Delbert brought up. What do we do about it? Nothing really. These schools, all these public schools have police forces inside them. Go arrest the parents. If you can't arrest the kid for not coming to school, arrest the parents for not being able to make him come to school. You put him here. You make the money. We'll be back at 9 o'clock. Clay is next on WYAB.